Hi, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome to the Heal Life. Of course, we don't own the rights to the music that is being played on this live broadcast, but we do have permission to play it. Welcome, everybody. As you guys are coming in, let us know where you're tuning in from, what city, what state. We are in for a treat. Hello, Ty Ty. We're so happy to see you. um, so happy to see everybody coming on this Thursday night. If you've never been or tuned in to one of our broadcasts, The Heal Life is a broadcast of testimonials, transformation stories, things just stories that'll make your heart pitter patter and know that God is still in the healing business and transformation business. And so tonight is a great night for you to sit down with your girlfriends, invite somebody, tag a girlfriend or two, and even some men on tonight. I like to say she's one of the babies of my cohorts. Like, she's in her 30s. She's young enough to be my daughter, and very accomplished young lady. And when you hear her story, the transparency, the beauty, the genuine spirit that she has, listen, you are going to be blown away. And so I'm excited about me being able to share my platform with Cassandra Brown, because I believe that now more than ever, women from all ages, all backgrounds, no matter whether they're in the church or not, are really seeking a greater form of themselves, greater identity, greater peace, greater direction when it comes to what God wants them to do for Him. And so thank you guys for tagging. Thank you, Ty, for tagging. As you guys are coming in, say hello. And just invite some people on. So a share, let them know that the Heal Life is on. We have a saying here at the Heal Life that it's easier to live free than it is bound. You're going to find that when you are on your healing journey, that you've been living hard. You've been living up the rough side of the mountain. It's easier to live healed and do what God has called you to do versus you trying to stay in the box, stay in the holes, in the past, and the things that keep you bound and keep you stuck. And so I'm a healing coach. If those of you that are tuning in have never met me before, my name is Dr. Rashawana Smith. I also go by Prophetess Rashawana, and I help women heal, tap into a deeper understanding of who they are, and help them come up with a blueprint so that they can live in their kingdom purpose. And so welcome Sequay. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me, whether you're on my Dr. Rashawana Smith page, if you're on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm super excited. Yes. So we just need one or two more people to come on. Y'all help me get the audience built up tonight. Y'all know I like to say, get your popcorn. Let me tell y'all about my little week before we get started. So y'all know, those of you that follow me, I took me a day off yesterday. And I'm telling y'all, I was still trying to figure out how I can do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, why am I trying to figure out how to go to the grocery store, how to cook? I ain't cooking. So of course I didn't cook. I went to the grocery store, but I got tired after going down some of the aisles and I just went on home. So I let the TV watch me, and I had me a good old time resting. And so I feel restored. I feel ready, rejuvenated, reset, and I'm ready to be in the presence of this awesome woman of God as I interview her. Some of you guys know her. Some of you may not, but she is a mommy. She's a wife. I think they're still on the honeymoon stage. They're still in the honeymoon stage, but she's a wife. She's a mother. She's a minister. I would say Cassandra is a student. She loves learning. She's very coachable. She's one of those people that she's a lifelong learner. She's always open to be a sponge to figure out what she needs to do next to walk in even more excellence. And so I'm just honored that she accepted my invitation to come on the Heal Life. And so without further ado, we're gonna bring Miss Cassandra Brown on, y'all, and welcome her to the stage. Y'all welcome her to the Heal Life.
What an introduction.
Yes, and look, she was my assistant. Like she takes care of people. She's a caretaker. Like you do so many things.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to ask you this. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the interview. So, kind of tell people that I might have missed a couple of things, but tell the viewers what you would like them to know about you.
I mean, you did a great job, actually. I mean, she nailed it. I'm Cassandra. I am a mom, of course, a wife to my awesome husband, Preston Brown, for 2 years. So, yeah, we definitely still in that honeymoon stage. I have just everything she said is on point. Been a student. I just want to be a better person each and every day. I love people. I love God's people. I've always had the heart of serving. I love serving people just to see them, see the light of God, to see the love of God, experience the love of God. So, I'm just passionate about people in general. So I've always, I feel like, dedicated my life to serving. And that's the heart of who I am. And so, now more than anything these days, I'm like, you know what? I'm great because the Bible says the greatest is amongst you is a servant. So I'm like, well, God, I'm doing that. That's all I want to do. I'm great. I'm great.
Yeah,
So that's me. I go to the faith center. I just I don't know. I went to school, went to seminary, got my master's of divinity. Shout out to Columbia Theological Seminary. Um, I guess in this moment, just as I'm like describing who I am, I'm really we'll talk about it a little later. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm like detaching from the titles in a sense because I used to allow that to define me. So it's like I'm
mm,
just Cassandra. I'm a daughter of the King. I love the Lord. I love the Lord's people. I love to serve. Um, so yeah, that's me.
yeah. So when I met you, you were singing praise and worship, and you probably served. I've probably seen you serve almost in every capacity without wincing, without like. So you did you start in praise and worship? Kind of tell me, where did you start?
So, yes, I definitely started in praise and worships. I started on the youth praise team, transitioned being on the adult praise team, became the leader of the adult praise team, got licensed as a minister. And then, moments I would preach, I would do things in the background. I got ordained as a pastor over student ministry of middle school and high school students. And then when I got pregnant with my daughter, Noelle, she's about 16 months now. And so about 8 months into that pregnancy, I stepped down and took care of the family and made that my priority. And so, yeah, I've served in several capacities in the church.
Yeah, with such fervent um energy, just exuding happiness. But sometimes because I started in praise and worship as well. Well, I wouldn't say I started in praise and worship. I started teaching first, but then the Lord, put me in praise and worship. I don't think I ever could sing. I just could worship.
That
I've had a
that's
joyful
that's
noise.
what matters because we got a lot of singers, but not a worshipers. So I feel like I just feel
but
like I didn't
but
mean to.
I think even when I was using my gift, I knew that there was some work that needed to be done, because sometimes people can see your
Yeah.
gift, they can see your willingness and
Hmm.
your hunger to serve, but sometimes on the inside there's some things going on that you feel like need to be addressed finally. Sometimes you never
Absolutely.
feel like that window is right, because you're
Yes.
always serving, but
Yes.
sometimes you just have to find a time to say, you know what, I've got to stop putting this off. So you were in that space probably a year and a half ago, after you had your daughter, which is your twin, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and kind of tell me where you were, like, emotionally. I know you were serving. You said you stepped down, but kind of unpack that and tell us kind of where you were emotionally.
Yeah, I was mad. Really, really mad. I was in a place of grieving my plans. I had
Mm,
everything laid out. I've always worked really hard and I always tied success to either academics or a career. And so in my mind, person that grew up, in the hood, I'm thinking like, I'm gonna make it to the top. Gotta work hard. I gotta go to school. I gotta get a good job. And so I was doing all the things.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, this is all working out. I went to seminary, came into the faith center, actually transitioned, became a partner there, started serving there, got ordained as a student pastor, started working with the teens. I mean, it was just lovely. It's like, I haven't got my degree yet, and I'm already in my field. I'm like in La La Land, getting married, and what I would call a divine interruption happened.
Mhm.
4 months after getting pregnant with my daughter, after marriage, I got pregnant with my daughter. And I was upset because I'm like, this was not in the plan. I
Mm.
mean, I eventually, thought I would have kids, but I thought later down the road. And so no matter how much I tried to cover it and, continue to serve and be there and be present, I was not okay. And even when I stepped down, I felt even worse because I'm like quitting on my purpose. I was ashamed.
Mm.
I just began to isolate myself. I just, yeah, I withdrew from everything and everyone. It's like I disappeared. And it was so challenging. I was deeply, deeply hurt, but I realized I didn't have a true understanding of purpose, one,
Mm.
and that it was that God was doing things, that He still had a plan, and not only did He have a plan. What I love about this course, I know we're going to talk about it, is that we want to talk about this thing called clarity counts. I just been getting them like forever. They're ongoing. I'm always getting one that not only He had a plan for my life still, but His plan was better than the plan I've.
Ooh, you better talk. Y'all put in the comments
So
his plan was better.
his plan was better. And once I understood that, it was like, okay, your plan is better than mine. You're God. And so that is, I was in this place. I felt like I just completely lost myself. I didn't know what to do. I felt stuck. I didn't know what was the next move. I was so ashamed. I didn't even talk to God really. There were moments, I would fast, I would talk to Him, but then I was going in this cycle, and I was just like talking to my husband, and it was the top of the year. We start talking through our year, and he's like, whatever we have to do and I'm like, Rashawana got this class, and I know it works. My friends, I began to think about, my friends who went through the course, and I'm like, I think this is what I need to do. He was like, whatever we got to do, whatever we got to pay, let's do it. He was like so invested in my healing and my wholeness because there was nothing he could do. There was nothing, I could not save myself from this. I needed help. And so that's when I reached out to you. We did a call, and yeah, we got it enrolled, and it's been
And
great.
y'all, I,
Okay.
I was turning flips. You hear me? Because Cassandra and I have been knowing each other for years.
Mhm.
And it wasn't the time then, but when this happened, and I love the fact that you said you were grieving over your plans,
Mhm.
because there are some women on here, even some men, just people in general that have a blueprint for their life. I'm talking about to the T,
Yeah.
and they can't get over that it didn't work out
Yeah.
like that.
Yes. Yes. And I remember having a conversation with my first lady, and she was like, you know, it's okay to grieve your plans. And I kept thinking, like, okay, but I got this baby, and people could clearly see like she is not okay because I don't mess things well. And I was, concerned about my baby because I'm like, Lord, I don't want my baby to necessarily feel all the things I'm feeling because people was like, your baby feels those things. And so, I didn't feel comfortable grieving it, even though I still was feeling it. And so after birthing her, I really it's like I went even deeper into this sunken place. Um, and I felt helpless. I didn't know what to do. I didn't see how I was gonna get past that. In that moment, I just felt like this is the end of me. Like
Mm.
I worked so hard, and God, all I wanted to do is please you, and like this is it. I don't know what else. Like I failed you. Like that was the first time. Like you have moments in your life you feel like, oh, I felt like no, I failed. I failed you, God. I failed myself. I failed everyone. And so it was a dark season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that it's almost like you worked up to that point, did all this hard work,
Hmm.
then you're at the threshold for what you believe is going to be your biggest breakthrough.
Hmm.
You finally are on the seat of, or the cusp of, what you know you've worked all these years for, and then this divine interruption takes place. You have your daughter, and then you're a mother at home,
Hmm.
and then you decide, okay, I've got to do something. Preston decides that he's going to support you
Hmm.
and say, okay, let's take this course.
Hmm.
How did things unfold? Did it happen all at once, or what did you think you needed? Did you get what you thought you needed, or was it something totally different? Like, what was the biggest misconception about what you needed at the time?
I think the biggest misconception, one, is that I had no idea that my daughter was divine. Like, I just thought, well, I did what married people did. I'll have a baby.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And it's my fault, and it is what it is. I thought that a lot of stuff that I was dealing with in the way how I responded, in the way I was reacting. And this is very interesting because I feel like it's the first time I'm publicly like talking about this. But that's the thing about freedom. Like, you can do it and you can just be okay.
Yeah.
And as I was going through that process of embracing my daughter, I think the biggest thing and the first thing that I got on the call with you before the class started was, oh no, it was a divine interruption.
Mm-hmm.
This, like, God is super intentional and super intelligent. And I think we sometimes bring him down to our level to the point that we don't think that he think things through. And that he knows what he's actually doing. So that was the first thing. It was like, and yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm gonna let you ask the questions, but that was the biggest thing. She
Yeah.
fine, and I absolutely, absolutely love, love, love my daughter. Like,
I know.
it's like another level of love was birthed for her after the course, because it was just like, and it was like an embrace not only of love of her, but like, God, I thank you for giving me her, because it went from like, God, why is this happening right now? Like, why would you allow this? Like, and I was just, my capacity was off like crazy. I was still in school getting a double master's. I decoupled from the program to get one. I'm like, my marriage was on the rocks because I didn't really have a true understanding of marriage and ministry and how that was going to work. And then, so I'm trying to balance all the new things that were blessings in my life. And the enemy wanted to deceive me and make them burdens in my life.
You better talk.
And so I think, not just knowing that she was divine, but I think this whole entire time, all the new and beautiful things God was doing in my life that women long for, want, would be excited about. I was grieving, upset, and mad. I had all the opposite feelings. And then to have the opportunity, which I see definitely now, it was an absolute blessing to be a stay-at-home mom and be here to raise my daughter and pour into her and nurture her. I felt like I was cursed. Like, it was just so crazy how the enemy twisted and manipulated those new things happening in my life. So it was a lot unraveling, and I didn't think like that was going to be the things that were revealed to me, that I would get. What I realized from the entire course is that a lot of things that I came in thinking, oh, I'm gonna need to deal with this and this and this from my childhood, and even though I did deal with those things in the course, those were nothing but side effects God had.
Come
That was
on.
the root that God revealed, like, is this daughter. And it's so crazy because the things that he was bringing up, the Holy Spirit was bringing up, I had totally forgot about. I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't even
Yeah.
remember it. The Holy Spirit himself had to reveal it to me during the course. But I think the beauty of this process is when you truly, the scripture says, ask, you know, I'll answer, seek me, you'll find, knock, the door will be open unto you. And even though I came in wanting and seeking and like asking and, really yearning, And it's like, oh, you're off. But I think because of my heart posture and the openness of that, the Lord intervened and made up. I didn't have to figure it out on my own. Like
Mm,
all my life, I was trying to figure things out on my own, manufacture things instead of being open to the Lord really orchestrating my steps or leading me to the answer or speaking through people. Like, so there were a lot of things happening in that course, and I got major breakthrough time after time, week after week. But it was because I was open to it. And when you are open to a process like this, the
mm,
Lord is going to do exactly what He says He's going to do. He's going to answer. He's going to open that door. Now, if you're ready or not, but you don't have to be because He is equipped. He can handle it. God can handle all our emotions all the
yeah.
time. And I was afraid of it. I was afraid of the emotions. I was afraid of what I would feel. I wasn't afraid of going into the class, but I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with these emotions. Be sitting here crying all over the place. I've been crying a lot. I really don't want to go in here and cry more. I was afraid of getting lost into all the emotions that I was feeling because I hid him. Like I was here home alone. So I would talk to my husband, but there were still things he couldn't understand as going through birth and being a mom and carrying a kid and like changing everything changing from your plans and your goals and your dreams. There was just certain things he wouldn't be able to relate to. So I'm just here isolated to myself, just dealing with it and not talking to God about it either. Because I was like, he's ashamed of me. Like I'm thinking like, oh, he's like, man, he's done with me. And it's like God is like waiting for me to come to him.
Yeah.
And I didn't really start truly doing this into the course. So
Wow. I want to tell y'all this, and I talked to Cassandra not just because I knew her before, but sometimes, exactly what she said. She said she was open, and when you're open and you're under this prophetic veil or under this prophetic umbrella, it pulls on the prophetic. And so I would constantly be talking to her and prophesying to her and pulling on her.
mhm.
Um, but she was mad about the soft life, y'all. And I was like, what?
Oh, so
You live in this soft life. Like you can stay at home, your husband's working, you get to stay at home with your baby, not work, and you are complaining about what?
bad. Right.
Your husband, your husband backs you 100%. He's in ministry, he loves God. You go to church and you complaining about what? Like,
Yeah.
and it was because there were some other layers that she really needed to uncover, and I like the other part of your breakthrough because I know that you were a minister, but you also needed to take back your ear. And
Mhm.
so I want you to kind of tell the viewers how you can be in ministry, and I was like that too. I had people in places that they didn't need to be,
Mhm.
and God had to remove people from the place where he was supposed to be because I had them in a place that only he was supposed to sit and seat himself.
Yeah.
And so when you went through the process and you knew that you finally made peace with some things in your past, and then God started giving you clarity about why you were in the position to be a mother, at this time, what the blessing and the sovereignty of God was doing in your life at that time, and you made peace with that, and you cried, and you had this conversation with your daughter she's a baby, but you have
Yes.
this conversation, a beautiful conversation with her.
Mhm.
What came next? What about your ear and your ability to hear God? Tell us about the other part of the breakthrough.
Yes. So this was a very like major. It was a big breakthrough for me. It was very powerful for me because growing up, I dealt with some trauma related things as a child in my childhood, and church was my safe haven. It was the safe place for me. And so it was, easy to be vulnerable. I was me. I was safe. I enjoyed it. Like I wasn't the kid where you had to drag to church. I was the kid who had my clothes ready the night before for church. As a child, I was ready and eager. My dad raised us into church, and so it was something I've always known. And so going through challenges in my life, growing up as a child, and now church becoming this refuge for me. Um, I became so invested. And this is where the serving kicked in, because it's like, I'll do anything for this church because they they saved me. And that was the error number one.
Mm-hmm.
Because God is like, no, my son saved you. I saved you by sending my son Jesus Christ. Right. And I slowly over years, and not that that's what they were teaching me. It's just when as a child, when someone saves you and covers you or protects you or loves on you or nurtures you or pours into you in a way where there are certain voids in your life and you're like they're standing in the gap, your loyalty to them, like it just goes to another level. And I was loyal to just the church, and I poured and I gave and I served, and over years, not knowing this was happening, but I was elevating and elevating and elevating my leaders to the point that when they spoke, whatever they said, okay, yep, that's what I'm doing. Like I listen, I follow. Like as Prophet said, like I'm a student, so I'm like whatever I have to do to be on point, to be excellent, to be a great person, to make God proud, to be fulfilling His will, I'm gonna do it. But it was so much to the point that I really was not confident in the voice of God on my own personally. And
Mm-hmm.
so the breakthrough happened because as I got older and I became an adult, I'm carrying those same patterns and habits place by place wherever I went. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm elevating people and I have the ear for validation. Like, okay. And what was crazy is even though sometimes they may spoke well of me, it's like, oh, okay. Like I didn't always believe that necessarily, like the great things about me. I'm like, oh, I'm just this person, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm just doing what I was supposed to do because as a child, and I can share this part because now I'm trying to be mindful because you want to honor people and respect them. But me and my mom have been transparent about our relationship. But she battled like addiction over years growing up
Mm-hmm.
as a child, and I kind of was very. I had to. I had to grow up quickly, so taking that responsibility to raise my younger brother and be there for them, being put in a position to lead, not really wanting to lead, but I'm forced in this position. And so
Mm-hmm.
now I'm an adult and I'm just doing things not because I just think I'm gifted to do it. I don't really feel like that's necessarily the case or I'm anointed to do it. I'm not necessarily seeing that God's working a gift in me. I'm just like, this is out of obligation. And you know what? They did right by me. I'm going to do right by them. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And so now God is speaking to me and telling me to do things. And I'm hesitant to be obedient because I need validation. I
Mm-hmm.
need someone to tell me, like, this is right. This is what God is saying. And God is like, that's not how I orchestrated this. That's not how this is supposed to go. Wait, time out, time
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I go on in life and I'm still operating that way, thinking like, okay, people are going to tell me what my next step is. People are, and it's like, no, I am God. You have relationship with me. You know me. But I hate myself to believe I knew him way more than I thought I did. And this entire year and a half of me being home, 16 months with my daughter, a little more than that, is like God kind of, we started over. Like he had to wipe the slate clean. Like there's some things I gotta unplug, I gotta uproot because that is deeply seated from when you was a kid, and that's not how I intended our relationship.
Oh,
Our relationship to be. That is not how I intended for our relationship to be. And I can't take you further to even
right.
begin to fulfill dreams if you won't even obey me in the small things. So he divinely interrupted my life and put a halt on everything while I'm trying to pursue something, but not fully do it out of true obedience. I'm just trying to do it because this is what I think success is. This is what I believe. This is what I know. And God is like, but my ways are higher. Like, the way I think is a way above you. I already know the plans. I've already laid this out. And I can't even depend on you to listen to my voice when I speak. You're
Right.
not even confident. You don't even trust the voice in yourself enough to just say, okay, God, and do it. And so that was a problem. Not that was a problem for God, you know? And so
Mhm.
I believe now, just going through this entire journey, like, oh God, this is your, because we want to, it's the devil. The devil is doing this. He's busy. He's doing this. He's trying to steal from me. I'm gonna take back what the enemy. Like, and God is like, and the enemy like, that ain't me. That ain't me. You know. And God was like, no, it's me. Because me and you, we got to get back on the same page.
Yeah,
So my ear was regained. I think that was a key.
it
get your
was.
ear, get your ear back.
Yeah,
Hear my voice. And not just hear me now, but be obedient. Move. And there were moments, right? I was doing it, but then there were moments where it was like, I'm not doing it anymore. And until somebody tells me. And I was in a position where it's like, we're not telling you anything. Like, the Lord is going to tell you.
right.
I'm looking like, I don't know. I would tell my husband, I think the Lord said this. And I started the class that way and ended the class. The Lord said this. The Lord said that. Confidently, like knowing He spoke to me. Where
Mhm.
before it was like, I think it was the Holy Spirit, but I think I should be doing this. And didn't do it. Just disobedient, flat out. And we don't want to. And what I love about Calls to Clarity, it was a safe place for me to be completely honest. And I didn't really feel comfortable with being a leader, having these titles connected to me and
Mm.
saying something like that. Because it felt like, you what? Like, you should like know better. You should be. And so it's like, I'm not saying that. I'm not. So now I'm just dealing with it by myself. And I'm just going, I'm getting further and further and further disconnected. And that's what the enemy wanted to do. He wanted to disrupt my faith. Right. And so, yeah, but it was restored.
Yeah.
It was
I saw you go from crying because you were frustrated to crying because you were free.
mm-hmm.
And one video, you were crying so, and you was like, I don't want y'all to think that I'm not happy because I'm
Right.
happy,
Right.
and I really love the fact that we do create these spaces of safety where women feel safe, seen, and served, but at the same time, they can release the things that they've been holding on to for years, and they feel like, what, this is a safe place to release it. So I think that your tears were different from when you came in. You were like, I don't want to cry, or do I want to continue to cry? Those were different tears, that you
Absolutely.
were shedding because it was finally letting go and allowing yourself to just be Cassandra. The best thing other than your breakthroughs was just the way your husband supported you. Like, I still am gonna give Preston his. I tell you, a young man,
Mhm.
um, to say at that age, to say whatever we have to do to get my wife where she needs to be. I want to, and he took an active role and part in making sure you, even to the end, he spoke over you, in the class. What
Mhm.
did that mean? How much did that mean to you that he really believed and didn't say, what you mean you got to heal your mother, you got your, life made, some people don't have the luxury of having a supportive spouse. So I just want you to speak that. I know we didn't have that question, but I
Yeah.
just want to give him his flowers because I was really impressed by him. Kind of tell us how it felt to be supported in that during that process.
It was everything because I already felt alone. So he was the closest person to me as I was going through this.
Mhm.
And, to get off the call and like we're talking to like midnight and I'm just crying like I got this clarity that now this, and he's just like, and he's just listening and he's just been so patient. And I was like, I'm sorry, I know you tired. I know you gotta go to work in the morning. But I was so full and I was so excited and ready to tell him about all the things. But from the bad to those moments of healing beginning and like him hearing it like, oh, that's wow, you got that. It meant everything to me. And there's nothing like having it really matters who you marry. Like there's nothing like having a man of God that will cover you, that will speak life on you. And when I gave up on myself, what I'm grateful for is that he didn't give up on me, and that he was just willing to be not just a partner with me in this, but he took the lead in fighting for me and my future before I didn't even initiate the fight. He did. Like, no, we're gonna get you back, but even better, like whatever it needs to be done. Like, he started the conversation. You see couples, sometimes they're planning out their year, they have these goals, and you're going through all the categories. I was the focus of the conversation. What
Wow.
do we have to do? And whatever we have, and he, in that moment, I'm like, he's serious. Okay, he's on board. Let me get on board with this. So it meant everything to me, and he and I still sharing my clarity counts with him all the time, and we still have great conversation, and I think he's proud and excited about just where this journey is leading me to, because God is still doing it. And I learned that, like, healing is this ongoing journey. It's like layer after layer after layer. And so, yeah, it's a great thing. I love me some Preston Brown. I'm grateful for him. I'm like, thank you, Lord. I didn't know, but yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for keeping preserving my marriage and putting him in place to lead me through.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too, when I'm looking back and we're thinking about, you're talking about so vividly your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we want our blueprint or our plan to go forth without doing the prerequisite work, which is the internal work. And
Yes.
God was like, you can't go any higher. You can't go anywhere else
Nope.
until you deal with some of the things you've been carrying for years. And
Yeah.
I love God that even though we're mad because he won't let us keep going, he loves us enough to stop us. And
Yes.
I'm telling you, that was, a love intervention, a divine intervention where he's saying, you know what, I know you think you're okay, but you're not okay.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Because I know I mean, you've made peace. You got almost a 2-year old. Your
Yes.
husband's in ministry. You're still, doing things in ministry. What is Cassandra doing right now?
So now it's like I'm putting everything into action finally, because as I stated before, what I learned in the class, that healing is this ongoing journey. Like, it was the beginning of a healing journey for me. And so I kept going through that journey. I still
Mhm.
was grieving. I still was crying. I still was talking through it, thinking through it, writing, praying, fasting. And now it's like the Lord he's like, okay, now I'm going to begin to open these doors. You're ready. You're ready now. And so my daughter just started daycare. Um,
Okay.
and, and I'm excited about that. I cried because I was like, what's next for me, Lord? I went back to that place and God was like, chill out, daughter. He was speaking to me, but I was hearing him and I was listening in this time. It wasn't just I'm freaking out and I'm just going to do my own thing. It was like, okay, I'm freaking out, but God, I'm gonna give you these things, these emotions, these feelings. And he began to minister to me. And a good friend of mine called me and said, hey, I really need like an administrative assistant. I need your help. And she didn't know my daughter. She called me on a Friday. My daughter was starting school Monday. And I'm like crying about it Friday. And she called me Friday night. And I'm like, God, is this you? And I'm so full, even as I talk about this, because I'm grateful for the evolution of my relationship with God. Because for me to even say, God, is this you? Because sometimes the enemy will try to take, when you're in this vulnerable place, and manipulate it and do all types of things. So I'm like, is it you? Are you setting me back? What am I doing? Speak to me. And I'm just leaning in, and the Lord is ministering me. He's guiding me, and I'm following him. And I'm talking to my husband, like, yeah, the Lord is saying this. And, I talked to him about this. And it's like, but there was a time I wouldn't have done that. I was not living my life according to the word. I was not following the Lord's lead. I knew the word academically, but I was not applying it or truly living it. And what happened during Calls to Clarity was that my heart began to be transformed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I truly now yearn deeply to please you, God. And whatever that looks like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm okay with it. Like, I am okay with it, right? And so now I've started working, and I feel good. I'm doing that part time. I'm working on myself. My husband surprised me with a personal trainer. I've been asking him to get me a
Come
personal
on.
trainer. So your girl is about to get snatched around here, and I'm excited about that. I've been, taking care of my body, eating cleaner, and I just feel great. And what I learned is, like, when you're focused on something, it's not just about goals and dreams. And it takes faith to focus, because you are believing. When you're focused on something, you're believing that there's going to be a certain outcome with your certain level of focus. And so God restored faith, taught me faith, right? And is allowing me to walk through faith. And I'm grateful for the trials. I'm grateful for those moments that I would deem as a dark season, because what greater place for faith to bloom, right? What greater environment? Because we want the great things, but we really don't want to go through the journey. We don't want to go through the test, but that's the only way elevation truly takes place. And so, after test, and sometimes taking the test again because I failed it, now getting to a place of God matured me, He developed me, right? The scripture talks about that we should take joy in trials and tribulations. Like, there's
Mhm.
things He's working in our character, He's developing, He's working patience in us, He's doing things in us that we need
Yeah.
for not necessarily just this big dream or this big end goal. It's something He had already set for us. Like, we forget that He had already laid the plan out. It was already, the plan is greater than ours. And
Mhm.
so I was able to yield that over, and now I'm just walking and in freedom, like, and smiling and genuinely happy, right? And it's not a facade, like, hey, I do my, but now it's like I'm smiling ear to ear. I'm good,
Yeah.
that's what's next for me. Walking this thing out now, taking what all the things I've learned, these tools I've gained, applying it. And now the Lord is like releasing and opening that door. And He taught me how to be a family woman, and the sacrifice and the selflessness it takes. And I believe because where He's taking me, that's what it requires. A
Yeah.
certain level of selflessness, a certain level of humility that I have to walk in. But He allowed me to learn it in my life experiences. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, okay, I'm in preparation mode, because I believe that when the opportunity comes, there won't be time to prepare. I need to be ready. And so I'm just preparing Cassandra. I'm taking care of Cassandra. I'm loving on her, and I'm walking it no more alone, but with the Lord. So,
So good. When I hear you speak about you getting your ear back and stripping all the voices away, it reminds me of how when we really do the work and rediscover who we are and who God is to us, that, you know, when you do the work, it removes the middleman.
yes.
There's no one that's standing as petition between you and God. You and God become face to face, and you cultivate this intimate, close, and special relationship with God that you didn't have before. And then you discover your worth, your value. You get, confidence back, and it's such a journey that a lot of people I think underestimate. So before we let you go, because I know you got the baby, and Preston's probably taking care of the baby, watching
Yes.
watching.
Yes.
Um, what would you tell a young lady that's a millennial, 30? You're 32, but she feels like she's had some things happen in her past, and things just aren't in alignment, but she knows she has some trauma and she needs to do some work on herself. What would you tell a younger version, or even a person that was where you were before you decided that you needed to take a leap of faith and do something about where you were in your life about a year ago?
Absolutely. I would simply say He's not done with you yet.
Yeah.
I would be like, sis, He is not done with you yet. Because a lot of times when we think those things are not going as planned, and now we no longer have control of it because it's not our plan anymore, that
Mm.
it's the end of us, and that, like, it's finished, it's done, it's over. But He's not done with you yet. And He's truly, we say it clichely, but when you keep living life, you understand He will give you beauty for ashes.
Mm-hmm.
He truly can turn all of that, all the mess, all the ugly. He's the only one who's able to take that and turn it into gold and refine you. So allow him, sis, allow him to do the work in you. Oh, just be open. That's all you need. All you need to say is yes. That's it. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know everything else. The Lord is going to step in. He's going to guide you. And as long as you're open, as long as you say yes, you're going to get there. You're going to see He is not done with me yet.
Mm-mm-mm. I need y'all to put in the comments, he's not done with me yet. So
No.
good.
Yeah,
So good. Thank you, Cassandra, for coming on with
absolutely.
any parting words. Y'all, let me tell you, y'all haven't heard the story. We just gave you a look. I tell y'all this when I have people on here. If y'all could see how ugly we get in Call to Clarity, y'all would be like, what?
I was going back looking at those videos. I was like, wow, I was rough. Thank God for the safe place because I don't look like what I've been through. Okay. It got ugly in it. I mean, I was literally doing the ugly cry because I just, I, when you are free, I mean, you don't care who's around, you don't care who's looking, who hears you, what you look like. You're just so happy that you've obtained that God loved you so much to walk in that. You just let yourself go, like, and I cried some days, but those tears definitely evolve. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. My parting words is y'all getting called to clarity. Like you're going to get clarity. You're going to get clear. This is a true woman of God, a teacher who knows the Lord and gives you practical steps to healing, right? It's not just this mysterious thing that is just emotional. There are steps that she walks with you through and she provides community for you. Like all the things. All you have to say is yes. I'm telling you, that's all you have. She got everything else laid out for you. The Lord has already done the work through her. My parting words says it's time. It's time. It's time. No more being stagnant. No more doubting. No more. It's time. So I hope they really I hope that this story, this testimony definitely blesses somebody and it gives them just that little push. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've interviewed women that were in their 60s, in their 50s, in their 40s. And I think you're the first this season, this series that we've done 30, 32. You're the youngest. But I think sometimes people think trauma has an age and
Mm-hmm.
or stagnation or feeling stuck or feeling burnout or feeling, like they're bewildered in a place that has an age. And it doesn't.
It
And
doesn't.
you don't need to wait until you're 50 or 45 to try
No,
answers. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Cassandra, for being
Thank
on with us.
you.
Y'all give her some hearts and some thumbs up as she gets off. She's so beautiful.
Thank you.
And we never know. I think I'm gonna come see y'all at the Faith Center though.
Come on. Come on.
Yes. Me and
Come
Honey gonna come to the
Royal.
Faith Center to see you guys. Not this weekend, but maybe the first weekend of March. So we think we're
Oh,
gonna come back to visit.
oh, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Honey's never been, but I've been and I know it's amazing. So I
Yes,
think we're gonna come
absolutely.
pay y'all a visit. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for your
Absolutely.
time. Tell Preston and the baby I said hello.
I will.
Stay backstage for a minute, okay?
Yes.
All right. All right, you guys. We are concluding tonight's broadcast. We have one more week, one more guest on next um, Thursday, and we may go into March. I just have to see what the calendar looks like because y'all, when I tell you we have so many women, so many stories of transformation, so many testimonies about women. So those of you that are on the fence and thinking, you know what, I don't think people get healed. I don't think people recover from trauma. I don't think I can get over what happened to me. We are testimonies that God is still working through us doing the inner work, and He's freeing women from places where they felt like they could never get free from. You can get healed from childhood trauma. You can get healed from trauma bonds in relationships. Listen, we are doing the work over here at the Visionary Institute, and we want those of you that are on the fence or want more information about Call to Clarity, my signature course. It is a 8-week course with me. It used to be 6 weeks. We have increased it to 8 weeks. And so if you know that you're interested and you need the course, or you just want more information about that, put clarity in the comments, or you can use the pin. I've pinned my link to make an appointment with me. It's a 15-minute free clarity call with me so that we can chat and see if you're a good fit for the program. Don't worry about money. I think the enemy a lot of time uses money to cheat people out of um, God's way of pushing you toward what you need. Many times we're praying for something, and then when something comes across our page, come across our life, then we start second guessing if that's for us. When we just prayed for God to bring the very answer that we need across our path. And so I'm praying that those of you women that know you need to be in a healing course, and you also need to rediscover who you are, and you want to walk in your purpose in a deeper way, then I want you to get in touch with me by making an appointment. If you don't see the link, you can put clarity in the comments and I'll send you a link for us to get on a call. Thank you guys so much. I see a lot of the cohort, previous cohort alumni on. Hello, Diane, Chanel, Lady Charlotte, Ty, Monica. Thank you guys so much. Sequay, Chantel, Kimberly. Thank you guys, Sharon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me tonight. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for always supporting what we do here at the school. And I will see you guys later on this weekend. All right. Y'all have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to like the video and share it with someone that you know need to hear this message. Good night. God bless.